There we go. Super. And then while it says it's preparing, as you know, we are live. My face is very brightly lit. I don't know if I necessarily need the light on or not. I'll leave it on. Makes me look a little bit less pasty than what I really am. All this being indoors at home. Yes, here we go. Fantastic. Live. Up come the windows. Up they open. So what I did badly yesterday, I don't know if you saw yesterday's with Shane Sharkey and Julie, because it's like a three-way, I guess. Basically, Julie was beneath us, and I tried to high five, and I was high fiving sort of like that.
I was trying to figure out who was doing it wrong, because one of them.
We were doing it correct. Yeah, we were doing it correct. Me and Shane were doing it right from what we could see, but how it appeared on YouTube was very different. So now I've got both windows open.
Yeah.
So if I go this way, and okay,
that's your right hand,
yeah, and if you go the other way, so if you do it the other way, this is how it appears on YouTube, and then high five like that. There you go.
Oh, okay. This is totally the opposite. Is a YouTube one? Okay.
It's being mirrored on YouTube. Yeah, it's mirrored on YouTube. So us high fiving the other way, that works. Yeah. But it's different on what we can see. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay. I think that's right. Yep. I'm just watching it on YouTube. Yeah. So we did it. Hooray! Brilliant. Well, that's one way to kill some time waiting for the people to come interview us on the video. So let's have a look in the top chat to see who's joining us. Hello, everybody. Anita Platnick, Richards, Michelle Williams, Callum Burrell, Ali Murphy, it's Adrian Luscombe, Rory Marriott. Hello, Rory. Hello, am I late? Says Emma Shaw. No, you're not late at all, Emma. You're with us. You're with us now, and that's most important. And then the viewing figures are going up. So hopefully some of your Sheffield bunch will be watching Zaheer. So let's introduce you.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed. Or if not, they can watch it back. That's the beauty of this. It's always going to be up there on the channel, archived for future posterity. And the beauty of these things now is that they're not highly time relevant. They can be watched at any point. So with me now, and thank you very much for joining me, is Zaheer Mahmood, athlete ID. I'm looking at my sheet. You know what it is. It's part of your Twitter account number. What's your athlete number?
I really should know this because I log on pretty much weekly when I'm over at Millhouses. So A1277256.
A1277256. Absolutely spot on. Brilliant. I'm failing to catch anybody out mostly. I think 99% of people I've spoken to, they know their numbers, and this is good. It's like the new mobile phone number. It used to be when you're growing up, you'd remember your phone number, your home phone number.
Exactly,
Don't need to worry about it nowadays because your mobile phones just remember all that sort of stuff. So no, the new phone number, home phone number, is the ID number, and the bigger, obviously, the more difficult it is to recall. So you are co-event director of Millhouses Parkrun. I've made a really tenuous joke to Millhouse, the Simpsons character, in our publishing and publicising. Everything's coming up Millhouses. I took it far too long about thinking about that as to how to do that. And of course, you're Sheffield-based. Millhouses is southwest.
Southwest of Sheffield, yeah. Just
west of Graves Parkrun, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's very close to Graves. In fact, it's pretty much in the centre between Graves and Hallam. So.
Okay, brilliant. I just wanted to touch upon it very briefly. We've had a little bit of a pre-chat there. I was going to speak to you last week, and of course, what was happening was Ramadan was happening. Yeah. So that's just finished on Saturday. That's just gone by. Exactly, so Eid Mubarak, is that right?
Thank you. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Acceptable. And so therefore you said it would be probably best to speak to me after that. And so, yeah, thank you very much for that. So how has that affected your running? I mean, obviously parkrun hasn't happened. So of course there are elements within that I know of, where is it you have to fast during the daytime, sunrise and sunset. Has that affected how does that affect your running in terms of the fueling side of things?
So obviously during Ramadan, we don't eat during daylight hours. So roughly about 4-ish till about 8:30, depending on whereabouts in the country you are. Mm-hmm. In terms of eating, it makes me personally think about what I'm eating and make sure you eat the right sort of stuff to keep you going with that food for the rest of the day. And surprisingly enough, I've actually been running pretty much regularly, apart from the last few days throughout the month. And I've actually done more mileage than I would normally in any given month throughout the year. So it's been surprisingly good. So
okay, so chomping at the bit to go and see if you can smack out a PB on the local course.
Probably not at the moment. It'll take me a couple of months to get back up to scratch to where I was before pre-lockdown.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah. I'll get there.
You've been busy and a lot more proactive in the running than I have. That's all I can say. So yeah, I need to up my game a little bit too. So I brought you on for a main reason we'll come to in a second, because we've turned you, is it fair to say that we've kind of got you into a new interest topic?
Oh, the postbox bingo, yes.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much within 24 hours, I was like an expert, a local expert in postboxes around here. So, and I think we were very lucky. We've got some good VR and GR within very easy reach of where I live. And even within very close to Millhouses, there's the 8th one, so which I was very surprised to find out. So yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's talk about it now, because let's go into it. So of course, you mentioned the VRs, the GRs, the ERs, the history. You have, I'm kind of spoiling the podcast that we recorded this morning with me and Nicola, is that you have stink pipes, but you have stink pipes that they fuel the lamps above them. The gas that came out, they used to light the lamps.
Yeah.
So you've got a bunch of them around there. So of course, you're steeped in history with all that kind of thing.
Yes.
And the VRs, or the GERs and the ERs, as Nicola and Poppy likes to call them, the GERs and the ERs. I'd never heard that before, so that's a new thing. But you've become an aficionado of postboxes. Of course, I've seen you being very proactive on Twitter, talking about things. You're very excited about it.
I mean, I like it in the sense that it makes you look at your surroundings a bit more differently. So obviously, we're all confined to pretty much solo runs at the moment because of the lockdown, and just looking at things, your surroundings around you differently. For example, in this case, postboxes, it makes it a lot more interesting. So the last few runs, I've specifically chosen the route specifically so I can find some interesting postboxes. So it's made running especially a lot more interesting. Especially when you're running on your own. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, that's fantastic. I'm really glad that you've embraced it. And I love seeing your tweets about it, because of course you do these things and sometimes they catch on. Some people, it's not for everybody, but when you have somebody suddenly go, thank you, I've got a new interest. We didn't intend to do this, just spoke about it.
I think it just exploded, didn't it, out of nowhere? So.
Yeah, well, people have run with it and excuse the pun, but and then of course, feeding us information about things that we didn't know and giving us a wider scope in terms of recognizing the history of this whole system. So of course I was watching a video the other day about the postal system and the underground postal system in London and all that beating network of stuff. So it's opened your eyes. It's edutainment. It's educating and it's entertaining at the same time. So what's your favorite one? Did you post a black one the other day with golden lettering on?
Yes, that's thanks to Lucy Maris. Is she on there? Is she on the chat?
I'm sure. Shall I have a check while you tell us about that? I'm sure Lucy's here.
Yeah, thanks to she spotted one fairly local to here, and it took me a couple of days to find it, but it's a black one. We're not sure if it's out of service because I think it's outside someone's house. So, but I found out that if it's out of service, then the actual front should be sealed off to stop people posting in it. But it was a really interesting find. Yeah, it's the only George VI one that I found locally anyway.
Okay, brilliant. But I mean, yeah, I'll have to come up to Sheffield to come and have a peek now. Lucy, to answer your question, is in here. She's in the comments. She's saying stink pipes. Stink pipes. Talk about stink pipes. We've ticked that box for you, Lucy. So hello to Lucy, of course, daughter of Queen Elizabeth.
I'm afraid I don't really know that much about stink pipes at the moment, but I'll get onto that probably in the next few days when I start running.
They're not quite as appealing, not as glamorous as post boxes. When it comes to like royalty and monarchy and all that kind of the affluence and the steeped in that kind of that prestige, whereas stink pipes basically it's what I call bum gas, and so it just isn't quite as appealing, is it? Methane, is it? So yeah. So onto your park running side of things. So 187 park runs total I have, and you have 39 different under your belt, and you've been obviously running in the UK, Germany, France, the 3 countries. So you're a tourist and you're an Uber tourist by rights. Yeah. Did you have any plans that have been cut out over this summer?
I was hoping to get my Italian flag and USA flag all in the space of 3 weeks in March. But of course, everything just ground to a halt. I would have, if things were normal, I would have done one of the Rome Pinetto by now, and Delaware in New Jersey, and probably one in Washington, D.C., Roosevelt Island, most likely. So I was really looking forward to it because I just planned all my trip around park runs rather than the other way around. But unfortunately, it's not to be. Maybe next year.
Okay. Have you completely had to can those flights and then look at rebooking, or have you suspended them or postponed, or are they just?
I've canned the flights, so at the moment we're not rebooked, but looking at sometime next year, wait to see how things pan out.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Fingers
next year,
crossed.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you. And of course, Delaware and Rarotonga Canal that I've been to myself. Lovely. Rory Murphy, who's over there,
Yes.
and who you sort of know. I saw a connection on the social media network.
I don't know him personally, but I asked a question on the UK Parkrun Tourists a while back before the lockdown. How can I get to this parkrun? It seems to be within easy reach of, and then he's a mutual connection of our parkrun ambassador, Karen Weir, and he just answered my question. Oh, I'm one of the EDs there, so come down. We'll pick you up as long as you give us notice. So that's how I vaguely know Rory through that. So yeah.
It's such a, again, throughout this, it never fails to establish these connections because, of course, Lucy Maris.
Yeah, and I was surprised to find that he actually knows our parkrun ambassador as well.
Yeah.
Back from Karen's Richmond days, I believe. So.
Yeah. And of course, you and I have never met in real life.
No.
We've actually spoken face to face, as it were. So we've had little communications, but I've never actually spoke to you. And yeah, so Karen Weir and Rory. So you have Lucy Maris and Queen Elizabeth and Bushy and everything. And Rory got into parkrun because of Karen. Karen Weir being one of the parkrun pioneers, who then moved up, obviously, into the northern part of the country, went north, and then she was Richmond event director, got Rory into that. So you start to draw this web of connections between people, and it's a small world.
It's amazing how connected everything is, at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, so shout out to those. Yeah, shout out to Karen Weir. And of course, the Sheffield parkrun region. I've been to Sheffield. I've been to do Graves Parkrun, and so I got to meet Ollie Hart, who's the GP that Parkrun UK tends to speak to quite a lot. And then I've met Joe Eccles, and Joe was in the Vitality, one of the Vitality videos that happened just very recently. Yeah. So yeah, I've been to Graves, and I've run through the zoo. I've run through the path that goes through their little zoo bit, so I remember really well.
They've changed the course now, so it doesn't go through that part anymore.
Oh, okay, they've changed it now. Okay. Oh, it's a shame. Oh well, but you still get to maybe go and see the animals. Yeah. Okay, but I remember that course so very much. I remember the morning. I remember being in the cafe and everybody being so lovely and friendly. And
cafe is really good.
Yeah, and so speaking of Sheffield and again your involvement. So before you started Millhouses, you volunteer occasions, I should say, 104 times. You seem to favour timekeeper and RD. They tend to be your favourite roles, but you've done a big variety of them. Yeah,
I think Marshall is probably the one I've done least, I believe. So, but yeah, timekeeping is one of my favourites. That's I've done the most over at Poolsbrook. I somehow ended up at Poolsbrook, which is a good few miles away from where I live, and then I sort of got involved with Millhouses. But yeah, in terms of volunteering, timekeeping tends to be the one I've done most. Although at Millhouses, when I'm not RDing and if I'm volunteering, it tends to be just holding the clipboard at the moment. So with the number checker. So.
Yeah, well, minimal. If you are doing minimal stuff as a run director, then everything's working perfectly fine. That's the beauty of the run director. If you have to do very little, then you've got everything. It's that up to that start point. That's all you have to worry about. And once it goes, and you don't have to worry about incidents and everything else, and then you sit back and the volunteer team do their job, and then that's a good job well done on everybody's part. So. Brilliant. So yeah, Poolsbrook. So Graves you've been to as well, volunteering there. Poolsbrook. So you did that for a long stretch, and then I mean Sheffield. Sheffield Hallam. So your parkrun story began there. You had your parkrun birthday. Do you remember when it was?
Yeah, it was sometime in November 2014, I think. Is it?
Yeah. Spot on. Absolutely.
It's a bit of a strange one because Sheffield Castle is actually closer to me than Hallam, and I ended up there simply. I was. When someone told me about parkrun after I did my own Couch to 5K on the app, I looked up parkrun and I looked at compared. I knew of Castle, which was closer, and at the time they were getting about 30, 35 average, and I looked at the much bigger one. I thought I want to get lost in a sea of runners. I don't want to get noticed, so that's how I ended up at Hallam, not Castle really. So, yeah, but of course I think these days I prefer it the other way around really. Smaller parkruns tend to have their own distinct character. Yeah. Each parkrun is different, of course. But smaller parkruns are good in their own way, and they have their own community feel about them. So yeah. Yeah, I think that you are not unusual in that fact. I think the reason why Bushy, whilst it might be satellited by many events,
that are smaller. Who's that in the background? Who is that? Just wondering.
Right. Just someone popping in to get something.
Oh, hello there. And then, so yeah, you have the smaller satellited events of the big events. And I think that people like the anonymity, like you said, that you want to go to a big event because you feel more comfortable. And then once you become used to the parkrun thing, then you can then start to find the like slightly more communal element. So people worry at first, anonymity with their performance, and then they feel comfortable and confident and they spread out to the smaller ones. So I think, yeah, it's perfectly understandable. I can relate to that. I can really relate to that.
I mean, I said, I just preferred to be anonymous, totally anonymous. Didn't want to get noticed. And I just stayed at Hallam for a long time until I moved out to Graves, and then eventually tried Castle as well. And then somehow ended up in Poolsbrook, which is a few miles down south of the Yorkshire, Derbyshire border. So yeah, a few friends of mine started that from Graves, and they asked me to come along, and I just stayed there for a long time until I got involved with Millhouses, really. Yeah.
And your co-inventor, Chris Lawson. So what prompted you? Who was the person who said, right, okay, want one in Millhouses?
Well, it's a strange one because back in January 2019, I went back to Hallam for the first time in a long while. And when I was last there, they were getting 500 odd anyway. So that was fairly big. But that particular day, they got about 900, close to 900, which was a course record, attendance record at the time. And then it was really, I remember it being really congested in parts, and I got home and I thought, surely there's got to be room for another parkrun in Sheffield. So I used the form, contact form, to contact parkrun to see, is there a group, which parks can I look at, which have been already looked at locally. And the email eventually found its way from JSH over to Karen. And coincidentally, that very same week when I sent the email, they'd actually started their own little group to actually find a location for a new parkrun. So that's just a matter of good luck and timing, really. How I got involved.
And then connecting all the dots, and away you go, and here we are. And
a few months later, we were there in October.
and functioning, and obviously had to pause a little bit October, so you had a little bit of time to establish, but obviously that's paused now because you were getting, was it 200, 300 consistently?
Well, our attendance record was at the inaugural, which was about 511. We ended up cancelling a fair bit in the beginning because of flooding, and just flooding in the north of England. And Millhouses is one area which tend to we run the River Sheaf runs right next to the course, so we get flooded fairly easily, let's say. So we cancelled a few in the beginning, but we still get an average of just under 400 most weeks.
Okay,
so
there's a lot of
that is around about 250-ish, I think, from memory.
Okay, so yeah, very consistent, because there is a lot of love for parkruns in the Sheffield area. There really is. I mean, it really has struck a chord. And of course, Sheffield being the home of Jess Ennis, and therefore she's involved in Vitality. There's so many little things all interconnected. So I haven't been to Millhouses, obviously, but Nicola Forward has. You've met Nicola. We've had you. She interviewed you for the With Me Now podcast. You've been a big advocate of the podcast since, well, pretty much almost since we've been around. So I'd like to thank you. Thank you for being a listener and engaging with us in that sense. And if people are noticing just over your which shoulder, that shoulder, we might be getting this wrong, but one of the shoulders, I can see a little With Me Now logo just there. Thank you very much for getting that. Now, with these hoodies, they tend to have something printed on the back. What's on yours?
I better not tell you right now, otherwise this interview could end very quickly, I think.
Yeah, we need to wind up anyway, so if you want me to give me an out, that's fine. That's good. So I know that you're a cool down person, so that's fine. Again, I don't resent anybody. I'll still bring you on and have a chat with you regardless. We don't want to bring politics into this. We don't want to bring in cool down or warm down either. So that's fine by me. So yeah, it's great to have been speaking to you the first time. I love speaking to people. The names are familiar. It's not just me, but a lot of the people who listen to the pod recognize certain names that appear in things, and then be able to see you and hear you is that additional element. Sometimes just hearing people is fantastic, but of course you can actually, the face, the tone and the inflections and everything just add something extra. So I'd love to meet you at some point when we're allowed to do our
I'm sure we'll cross paths hopefully at the Perry Hall powwow.
Yes,
whenever that happens.
Oh, you come down? Yeah, that'd be fantastic if you come down for that. I'd love to meet you there. So that'd be brilliant. So is there anything else you want to say and to give a shout out regarding Millhouses, any little funny stories, whatever. So I'm going to move on to Pictionary in a second, because you know about Pictionary, but is there anybody you'd like to call out, shout out, anything you'd like to tell us about Millhouses you'd like to express to an audience?
Yeah, it's every sort of core team member's nightmare that you've got half the kit at home, and then you might not actually make it in time for the setup or time for 9 o'clock. What happened? I don't think I've told this to anyone actually. So
exclusive, yeah.
So today's first. I think I actually misplaced my car keys. I don't live too local to the park, so I live roughly about 3 miles from the park. So it's not an easy walk. It's not quick, especially when you got kit with you. And I was looking. Was it 7:45 in the morning, just frantically trying to find my car keys? Where are they? I've lost them. So luckily, I just ran across to my brother's house, just borrowed his car for that morning, and just about got there in time for setup. And as luck would have it, they were just found later on in the day at the bottom of the settee. So
that's right.
It was a bit of a mad panic, but it turned into an even bigger panic because I had half the kit with me. So,
yep. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of empathy out there about people. You just take it for granted. You forget. There was one at Surbiton Juniors where Mark Ronaldson, if you ever watches this back, we're just doing setup. He's putting the stakes in the funnel, and then I just dropped him a little question. I went, "So, have you got the AED with you?" And it was like 10 to 9. He went, "Oh!" And then, okay, we'll do the rest of the setup, and off he goes. And so, yeah, we started maybe about 5 minutes or so, a bit late that morning. So we've all been in that position, and of course, yeah, we've all been in that heart in mouth moment. So Pictionary, you know that we're going to do Pictionary. While you are doing that, have you got a pen and paper handy? I'm assuming you do have a pen.
Well, I hope my drawing's good enough for people to see, because I really am not very good at drawing. So let's try this.
Everybody says that. Everybody always has this fear. Everyone has said it beforehand. They'll say, I don't think my drawing's going to be good enough, but the hive mind in the comments are really, really good. So whilst we're doing that, let's dive into the comments. So this is one thing I always tend to sort of miss out on whilst we're going live. Of course, you mentioned Perry Hall then, Zaheer. So Emma Shaw is very excited and happy about that. In caps lock, Perry Hall, Perry Hall. Perry Hall, everyone's saying Perry Hall. Absolutely. I mean, that's a shoe-in now. Adrian Luscombe says, cool down with a thumbs up. Oh, here we go. Everybody's being cooled down all the way. Pegasus Quiet. Hello, Pegasus Quiet account. Don't know who you are, but welcome to Pegasus Quiet. It's the first time I've seen your name. And people, what they're saying. So good point. Well made, says Callum Burrow and Elizabeth Shazam. What are you saying? Zaheer won't be anonymous anymore, says Lucy Maris. After today, he'll be going viral with his With Me Now appearance and postbox tweets. Callum Burrow, I think after Nick was there, that Zaheer is already legendary. There we go. Elizabeth Shazam says, could you not have named Millhouses Zaheer Parkrun for all us Z chasing tourists?
I did think of that, but unfortunately, I didn't get enough votes.
Okay. So if we can crowdfund to get you to own the park, and then we can change the name, that's what we need to do. Okay. How many did you get at Millhouses here? It says Pegasus Quiet. We've been over that, just touched upon that. And what's this? Lucy Maris again. Pegasus Quiet. It's a shame that now we're on YouTube rather than Facebook Live that I can't give people likes. I'm missing it. This is the balance. You can't please all the people all the time, I'm afraid, because it's quiet. But we've also had many people saying that are not on Facebook and missing out. Same with Twitter. And so YouTube is the wider one. You can comment in the comment section afterwards. You can still at people. So yeah, there is a difference. I mean, unfortunately, we have to consider diversifying for audiences. But point taken, absolutely. And Lucy Maris, are you going to come and do the new Endcliffe Park Run one day, Danny? It'll be a while, says Lucy Maris. As is always the case, many, many different park runs that I'd love to get to, and unfortunately only one a week. Try my best. There's so many I'd love to do. And the ability to try and speak to someone like Zaheer right now and talk about Millhouses kind of covers that base. Right. That's one last check. Okay. And Karen Spackman, how about a singing lesson for Danny? If you're in a choir, would you be up for that? I'm talking to Ali Shepherd. Okay. This is what happens. They just go, the community in the comment section just have a little conversation amongst themselves. So have you got your Pictionary ready?
I have, and I'll give you a clue. It's not Millhouses or Perry Hall.
Okay.
Hopefully, can you see this?
I can. Right. Oh, see, everybody always deprecates about their ability to draw. Now, I can clearly see, I know what that is. I'm not even going to say what it is. I know what it is. If I say what the pieces are together, that's not a bad drawing. So here, you've really done yourself down there. You really have. Pegasus Quiet, chatting away. Beverly Gow. Pegasus Quiet is Ali Shepherd. Aha! Right. Hello, Ali. Emma, where's the postbox program you watched, Danny, or the postal history thinking? Oh, the Postal Museum. The Postal Museum website, they've just had a video of them, 10 minutes of a virtual, basically it's the experience of going on the train underneath London. So go to have a look at the Postal Museum on there.
People got it, or?
Yes, they have. Yes, they very much have. Angela Coates, Callum Burrell, Rach Bentley, Eleanor Thompson, Sam Needham, is that U22? Emma, Ali Shepherd, Beverly Gow, Anita Platt. Wow, everybody. Yes, this, they very much got Fountains Abbey. Very much, you see.
Being from Yorkshire, I think it's one of the best parkruns out there. It's certainly the best I've toured at anyway. So I simply had to mention it.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. It is a very beautiful, and it's a very quiet, very peaceful park run.
It's a very peaceful setting, and no matter how many runners they get, it still feels peaceful in the surroundings.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Everybody got Fountains Abbey. There you go. See, brilliant. I thought it was an excellent drawing. I thought I was going to see some sort of like stickman scribble, but nope. It was ornate. So I think you should maybe do a bit more art. I think you should consider that. Right. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Loved meeting you virtually. Thank you to everybody that's watching. And again, that's the way? Ready to do this high-fiving? That's the one. So yeah, that's the one. Yeah, virtual high. I think it's right. I think it might be wrong. It might look silly. Who knows? Or the other way. I can't remember. Either way, let's just do that.
All right.
Brilliant. And lovely speaking to you. Right. All the very best, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you tomorrow. If you haven't already subscribed, share, please let the people know about these videos that are happening. If you've got people you'd like to hear from, let us know as well. And then we'll try and get them on. We've got so many people lined up. And tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, it's Wednesday tomorrow, isn't it? We don't know, but we think it's Wednesday. Ian Rutson, Worm and Urban, talking to him. So that'll be interesting too. All right then. Ready for your Zoom face, Zaheer?
Yeah.
All right then. Take care, everybody. Bye.